Hi everyone! Welcome to the Book Circus. My name is Jules, and today I'm going to be doing my end of the year book haul. I'm actually really excited about this. I've been on a book buying ban for like 6 months now, and so I'm really excited to get to new books. One of the things I was really proud of this year was the fact that I brought my TBR down to like what it is now behind me. It started at like 45 this year, and now it's down to like 20. Unless you count the 2 that I'm reading right now. Now, I've got a lot more books to add. We'll kind of do a tally at the end of what those numbers look like, but it's not looking good as to how many of these are going on my physical DVR. This year I borrowed a lot of books from the library, and I liked some of them enough that I wanted to pick up physical copies, so I tried to get more of those. But, you know, I like a good book like anybody else, you know? So I'm going to start with books that I personally bought. I kind of tried to justify buying most of them as like birthday gifts to myself, but there's a little too many for that, so it's fine. And then I'll talk about the books that I actually got for my birthday and for Christmas. But first, this first set of books I'm really excited about because I got them from my library. They have like this little area of like donated books that they sell hardcovers for $2 and then paperbacks for $1. And I got some really good finds there. Well, some good finds. The first one I'm excited about is The Man in the High Castle by Philip K. Dick. Yeah, Philip K. Dick. And it's like kind of like Wolfenstein vibes, like basically what if the Nazis won World War II. I love Wolfenstein, so I'm excited to basically read it. This next book is a little controversial. I'm fairly sure I'm gonna actually be unshelving this one after I read it, and that is The Help by Catherine Stockett. Obviously most people have heard of this book. Like, I don't even really think I want to go into what it's about. Very critically acclaimed. It has like a 4.5 stars with like 12 million reviews on Goodreads. Like, it's very well known. But kind of in recent years, people have started to talk about more so the white savior element or complex of it all. So I'm curious what this is gonna be like. I don't know. It was $1. Why not, you know? Next book, $2 for a hardback, is this middle grade mystery book, Chasing Vermeer. This is actually a series. My partner actually said it was one of their favorite series growing up. And I like a good little middle grade from time to time. It doesn't take very long to read. I like a fun mystery. I love art. Next book, the book I'm most excited about, I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I actually read this earlier this year. I listened to the audiobook version of it, which is read by Jeanette McCurdy, and it was great. I liked it so much. It was my first ever memoir. I haven't read a memoir before, but it was really good. Just like this great, dry, deadpan sense of humor, but also just speaking on very complex, difficult subjects. So it was great, and I really want to try reading some more memoirs this year. This next stack of books is from Half Price Books. Technically thrifting, I guess, but also like their prices aren't the best. So first book I got is an author I'm familiar with. Actually, these first couple books are authors I have read before. One of my co-teachers last year gave me randomly a copy of Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. He was just like, hey, my wife found this, do you want this? And I was like, sure. And I read it, and I liked it. I really liked the movie a lot growing up, so I was like, oh, I'll probably like it. I just decided, why not give him another try, see what this one's about. It got made to a movie too, so it can't be that bad. Yeah, I don't know. It seems fun, and I love a good vampire book. Another author I have read and loved, is Christopher Moore. This is A Dirty Job, about this guy who basically becomes the Grim Reaper. Like, he kind of gets forced into the role. I read Noir and Razzmatazz by him, and I fell in love. I love those books so much. One of my favorite duologies. I don't know if you call anything but fantasy and sci-fi that, but one of my favorite series. So phenomenal. Definitely can't wait to read more of Christopher Moore. He's just so hilarious. Last book I got at Half Price Books, another book that I've already read. This is Tomorrow, you know, Tomorrow, by Gabrielle Zevin. I think like everybody knows this book. It really doesn't need introduction. I just read it for the first time. I borrowed it from my library this year and I liked it. It was like a 4-star, so I just picked it up because I love the cover. But yeah, I like this one a lot. Very complex characters that are easy to both love and hate. Next set of books is books that I got at my local recycled bookstore. Actually, it's not really local to me anymore since I recently moved. It's like an hour away now, but I just love it so much. Anyways, the first book I got, I've already read. This is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. This was my first Shirley Jackson. I will definitely be trying out more. This follows like two sisters who are like the sole survivors of a poison, or not the sole survivors, but most of their family dies in an arsenic poisoning occurrence at their house, except for their Uncle Julian, who's suffering from effects of arsenic poisoning. And the whole town thinks that the older sister Constance did it, so they're kind of like outcasts, if you will. But we follow the younger sister, Mary Cat, who is just one of the most unique voices I have ever read in fiction. She has a very strong, distinct character, and it's just very fascinating and weird and funny. Yeah, definitely a good book. We'll be reading more Shirley Jackson. Kind of a sleeper find, hopefully a sleeper hit, is Waiting for the Barbarians by J.M. Coetzee. Apparently kind of a classic from the 80s. We kind of get this contextless, like out of time, out of place setting where we get this discussion of like, what does it mean to be barbaric versus civilized? Who is truly the barbaric or civilized one? You know, the one killing like all of the children and babies of entire generation civilization, or like the ones who don't eat with like a spoon and a fork, you know? So I don't know. I'm excited to try this one out. We'll see what it is about. Another hit from the 80s, apparently. We have The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. This is a Spanish, or not Spanish, Italian? Yes, Italian author. Also got made into a movie, but it is a medieval murder mystery. That is all I needed to know about it. I have a fascination with medieval settings for some reason. I don't know why. I've read so many medieval books this year. I don't know. Medieval murder mystery, that's all I needed to hear. About like a monk in a friary. Yeah, that's sold. I'm here. I'm with it. Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. I did not know this was a series when I picked it up. I just was recommended it by a lot of people. And I don't know, it somehow gets complex from there. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what's going on here, but this one I've kind of been like every time I'm at Barnes & Noble, I like flip-flop back and forth between buying this book, and I never have. And I finally found it at the thrift store, and I decided to pick it up. It is Cavalier and Clay by Michael Chabon, I don't know. But this is from the early 2000s, but it's like a historical fiction about this Jewish guy who escapes Nazi-occupied Prague to go to New York City and become like a comic book artist, I believe, and The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay is the comic that he writes, I think. This is pretty critically acclaimed, very highly rated and recognized, so kind of curious. I love historical fiction. World War II I feel is kind of overdone, but this does sound like, you know, different, so excited about that. World War II is overdone. That sounds insensitive, sorry. But it's true. This one I actually picked up for my partner, but I do intend on reading it, and they have already read it. They really like Rainbow Rowell. I thought this was a beautiful cover, so why not get it for them so they could have it. But this is Scattered Showers by Rainbow Rowell. This is her like anthology, so it's a bunch of different short stories, most of them being romance, I'm assuming, or all of them, I don't know. I'm not really a romance reader anymore. I did read a lot of romance growing up in like middle school, but it's not my favorite genre anymore. But I like short stories. They're a lot easier on me. This is the one I'm most excited about, I think. Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I've just been hearing a lot about Colson Whitehead. He's a very, like, supposedly a very witty, sarcastic, intelligent author. So I'm very interested to read one of his books. This was the one that most interested me. Obviously, we're following a story that takes place on the Underground Railroad. I don't really think I need to say more. I'm just intrigued by the author mostly. So very excited about this. And the cover is cool. The next books that I'm talking about are just new books that I bought. I did not thrift these. I bought these at the bookstore at various times. The first one is Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You, Volume 5. This is like a really just a cute, slow burn age gap romance. I'm not normally an age gap fan, but this strangely does not feel weird to me. And so yeah, I'm a really big fan of this one. As you can see, I'm on Volume 5. The Summer Hikaru Died. I'm not entirely sure about this one yet. This was recommended to me by a student, and it's basically about like this boy whose friend gets body swapped with like a thing that acts kind of like his friend, but he starts to feel guilty for enjoying hanging out with it, knowing that it's not his friend, basically, is what I get. I don't know how they're gonna stretch that beyond a couple volumes, but okay. Very excited about this one. Very excited about this one. This is Strange Houses, the follow-up to Strange Pictures by Uketsu. And then this is gonna be followed up next year with Strange Buildings, which I'm very excited about. If this is the same as the first one, it's like a very episodic, like almost short story like mystery where all of the smaller little stories culminate into like one bigger mystery, and it's really fun, really cool. I literally read the first one in like a 1 3-hour sitting, so I'm really enjoying having that 1 3-hour sitting with this book and the next book that comes out next year. This one, I don't even know if it counts as me buying it because I got it for free from the book fair. The school that I work at, teachers get a free book, and so I got Sunrise on the Reaping, which is of course the newest addition to the Hunger Games series. I hadn't read either of the new prequels yet. Now I have. I've read them both, and this was okay. I gave it like 3.5 stars. It's not awesome, but I enjoyed Hey Mitch again. That was nice. So, last book, favorite book of the year maybe. So much so that I broke my rule of only buying paperbacks, really. Like, I do not like hardcovers, but this is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. I loved it so much. I borrowed it from the library and then I read part of it as an audiobook, and the audiobook is so good. If you're gonna read it, read the audiobook. It's so good. The voice acting makes it like 10 times better, but Joe Abercrombie is also just really talented at building these like really unique, strong characters with very distinct voices, despite having like 6 different POVs, 8 different main characters. Like, it's very... it's just so good, the characters. I love them so much, and I cannot wait. I even got my partner addicted to this, and they're very mad at me for the fact that it's an unfinished trilogy, but we're both so much anticipating the sequel. And also apparently there's a movie coming out that's directed by James Cameron. The movie's cool, don't get me wrong, but like, I would rather have the sequel. But yeah, I'm very excited about this, and so much so that I bought it as hardcover because I did not want to wait to own this book. It's so good. It probably is my favorite read of the year. It's so good. Like, and I'm definitely going to be reading more Joe Abercrombie next year. I think I'm going to start with The Blade itself, which I don't remember what that trilogy is called, but I'm not really a big fantasy reader. This is like a historical fiction fantasy, so that's like really what got me into it. And it's monsters, like we have a vampire, you know, werewolf, all that, but he's a great writer. I feel like I'm gonna like it, and I really want to try more fantasy. In the last installment of embarrassments upon my soul, books that I got today, literally today before filming this video, I went to Kinokuniya, the Japanese manga bookstore, today to get the newest installment of a manga I love. They did not have it. Instead, while I was there, I got Shadow the Hedgehog, the manga, which this is the Japanese version. I looked it up. They apparently are not going to be publishing this in English, probably, but I did find it in English online, so I will be reading it there. I love Shadow the Hedgehog, so I had to get this. I did not know this was a thing. I don't think there's gonna be any more volumes. It doesn't have like a number issue to it, so I don't know, but it's Shadow the Hedgehog in a manga. How cool is that? Anyways, I left Kinokuniya with that and went to Barnes & Noble to see if maybe hopefully they had it. I had never looked to see if they had it there before, but they did. It is the guy she was interested in wasn't a guy at all. This is a yuri about two high school girls. One of them thinks the other one is a boy at first and then finds out no, that's her classmate. This came out like a few days ago, like a few days before Christmas. I was shocked that they did not have it at the Kinokuniya, despite having like an entire display shelf dedicated to like stickers and buttons and stuff for this manga. Whatever. While I was there though, everything was 25% off, so I decided to pick up a book that I wanted to read that none of my libraries near me have, and that is the original 1818 text of Frankenstein. I have read Frankenstein before. This is not really an addition to my physical TBR, but I do want to read the original text this year, probably in October. I don't know. I did get another version of Frankenstein for Christmas as well that I am very excited about, that I think is going to pair well with this. And oh, I forgot, on my physical TBR still is the manga version, Junji Ito's version of Frankenstein. So I'll be reading that as well. So that's exciting. The biggest embarrassment. Okay, nobody can let my partner know that I bought these today. I don't know how I'm gonna hide it. Really, truly. The box set of the Percy Jackson series. Again, I recently reread the Hunger Games series, so I've kind of been on a rereading kick of like my favorite books from childhood, and they're so gorgeous. And I got this for like 30 bucks because it was 25% off and I have a membership, so it was 10% off an edition, and that's really awesome, and I love these and they're beautiful. So it's okay. Look at the spines. Look at them. Beautiful. That's all the books that I bought. This next set of books, we're finally on to the books that were gifted to me, so no longer are these an embarrassment and a shame upon my soul. They are simply burdens on the physical TBR. Some of them. Not all of them, but some of them. These first two stacks of books were birthday gifts, kind of, in a way. This first stack is mostly from my mom. I love you, Mom. Thank you so much. I love you, Mama. The first book I've already read. This is the Sunbearer Trials. My partner also pre-ordered for me, with a gift card they gave me, the sequel, which is Celestial Monsters. I've already read both of them. I borrowed them from the library earlier this year. I wanted to own them. However, I wanted paperback, so I'm still waiting for the paperback release of the sequel, which is February. Basically, if the Hunger Games and Percy Jackson with like the mythological element took place in South America in like this kind of slightly alternate version of the world. Our main character is trans, he has wings, and he can fly, but he's not really the best contender for this Hunger Games where all of the other children of the gods and goddesses are like competing to decide who's going to be the sacrifice to keep the sun rising and setting, basically. Another book I have read, this is The Unworthy by Agustina Basterica, the author of Tender is the Flesh. I haven't read any of her other stuff yet. I really liked this one. We follow like this character who has become a part of this post-apocalyptic cult that is like locked up in this like former nunnery or like convent, basically. It's like an unreliable narrator situation where our narrator both like seems to believe and disbelieve in the like shit that's going on in this story. Yeah, I don't want to say too much about it because I really recommend this one. Some sequels to books that I have been anticipating. The Devil by Name. This is the sequel to Fever House by Keith Rawson. This is a horror series where we have this apocalyptic scenario where this like government conspiracy to control these like, what do they call them? I forget what they call them, but these objects basically goes awry, and the objects get released and essentially cause people to like become angry, cannibalistic, murderous, not zombies, but like just go on a rampage. And it's this apocalyptic scenario, and it's just a bloody, fucked up good time, I will say. That's that. So I'm excited to see that continue. And see this conspiracy unfold. Another sequel, like I said, we've got The Destroyer of Worlds by Matt Ruff. This is the sequel to Lovecraft Country. Love Lovecraft Country. It was one of the books that kind of got me back into reading in 2023. I just, for some reason, have never made my way to the sequel, or it's never made its way to me. I don't know. We've kind of missed each other. So I'm excited to do this. I'll probably reread Lovecraft Country before I read this one, but very much anticipating this. Can it be a duology if it's historical fiction? Like, I feel like people just call, like, mystery, or not mystery, like, fantasy and sci-fi duologies. I feel like duology is, like, a weird term to use for anything else. I don't know. We've got The Drowning Machine and Other Obsessions by Emma E. Murray. This is a short story horror anthology. It's very much an indie book, not a lot of reviews for it, but the few reviews that there were like very much sold this to me. The reviews were just so compelling, basically, and I was compelled to buy this book. And it's a short story collection. Those are very readable to me. This will definitely not stay on my TBR for very long. The Bletchley Riddle. This is by Ruta Sepetys and Steve Shankin. I don't know who that guy is, but I love Ruta Sepetys. I've read all of her YA books, very much anticipating her adult debut coming next year. This is, I believe, her middle grade debut. I don't think she has any other middle grade books. I don't know. Again, World War II, it's been done, but she's also done it before, and it was good. So I trust her. And then I got one nonfiction book from my mom, and that is The Faithful Executioner by Joel F. Harrington. In this one, we follow, like, I think they're like diary entries from this actual 1500s executioner, and like his reflections, meditations, and thoughts while performing this very fucked up job. Last book I got for my birthday is from my partner, another nonfiction book. This is One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This. This is kind of commentary and reflection on both the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, but also just the downfalls, the pitfalls of Western capitalistic democracy as a whole, and this idea of Westernism. Very powerful. However, I read this as an audiobook, and I regret that. That's why I asked for a physical copy of it. Because when I read an audiobook, I read it typically, the most audiobook listening I do every day is when I am driving to work, like 30 minutes after I wake up, and when I am leaving work, most of the time after a fucking overwhelming headache of a day. That's when I listen to my audiobooks, and that was not really a pleasant time to be reading something like this. So I really want to actually set aside time to go through this, annotate it, really take it in, and not have it ruin my day as well, or like make my day just a little bit worse. Not ruin it. My day was already ruined, and then this was just rough. I will just show you the whole stack. It looks like this. This is the first 12 volumes of Sakamoto Days. Technically, I bought this. However, my brother gave me $100 for my birthday. I used that $100 to buy this. I think this counts as a birthday present. I loved the show Sakamoto Days, and obviously it's gonna be a while till the next season comes out. And so typically that's kind of how I've started most of my manga series that I'm reading currently, like Kakegurui, One Punch Man, Dun Dun Dun, like all of those I started as TV shows first and now am reading the mangas for, and I'm ahead of the show in. So this will be no different, but I love Sakamoto Days. We follow like this former assassin who's kind of thrust back into the life, but obviously is not in the best condition, but still is fucking him up. He is the best around, and I love his found family that we come to see here. Now we're on to Christmas, which was yesterday. The first thing I got was Witch Hat Atelier, the coloring book. I just love this manga series. I love the art. It's like probably my favorite like art of any manga series that I've read. And so I'm excited to color this. I know it's not really a book, but whatever. It's a coloring book. The only thing about it is that it's not printed, like it's double-sided printed, so you can't use like alcohol markers on it or anything that will bleed, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. Keeping with the manga theme still, yes. My other brother bought me the next 4 volumes that I needed of Dun Dun Dun, which is cool because they actually bought me like the first 10 volumes that I have for my birthday last year. This girl who has psychic powers and this boy who has acquired demonic powers or yokai powers, and they use it to fight a host of other aliens and yokai that plague them for various reasons. And again, a fun little kind of found family situation. Really love this. Kind of a weird one though, very weird. The next ones I'm very excited about because I actually have been waiting 2 years to read these. This is volume 2 and 3 of the Drifting Classroom series, which is a horror manga trilogy. We follow this like classroom that gets or this school really that gets transported into this like alternate dimension where there's like monsters and stuff that they have to survive. I read the first one in 2023 and I got it, like I bought the volume on sale, and then I have never seen it on sale since, and they are $35 a piece, so I've never bought them. But my dad was kind enough to purchase them for me for Christmas, so thank you so much. I'm really happy about that, and I'm very excited to see if these little kindergartners make it home. I don't know, I think they're really young. I can't remember how old they are, but they're elementary school. Last stack of books, starting with a book that is not actually a gift for me. This was a gift from my partner from their sibling. I just really want to read it, and I wanted to show people because it's a beautiful, look how beautiful this cover is. It's so gorgeous. And I will be reading this year. This is Marsha. It's a biography of Marsha P. Johnson. Woohoo! The next couple books are from my dad. First one is this beautiful, gorgeous special edition of Dracula with this amazing velvety cover, these gorgeous, subtle bat sprayed edges, and then it's illustrated by Edward Gorey. I've read Dracula before, but gorgeous, beautiful. Another gorgeous, beautiful collector's item is this illustrated edition of Frankenstein, which is what I was talking about earlier, to pair with my 1818 text, so I can read this and look at the illustrations, although there's not as many illustrations in here as I would like hope there to be. Like the cover is like this clear plastic with the text that like separates from the really cool art. I like that a lot. It gives like anatomy book vibes. This one is from my brother, the one who bought me Sakamoto Days. This is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This was a 2.5 for me. I've already read it. I would not normally buy a 2.5 book, especially for almost $30. I have the rest of the series, and I am the type of person who cannot not have it, you know? This book is from my partner, and it's another book I've already read. This is You Weren't Meant to Be Human. I borrowed this from my library earlier this year in like, when did I read this? I don't remember. I think over the summer. This is a really fucked up story where we follow this trans mask main character who is forced to endure this pregnancy and childbirth by these like worm-like alien creatures who like lead this cult that's centered in this gas station where all these people work who are part of the cult, and they have to like murder people to feed the worms. It's like super fucked up, super hard to read, super gross, but I love it. And this is my first Andrew Joseph White. I will definitely be checking out his other stuff. I know this is his adult debut. Last 3 books are from my mom. I know the lighting has changed like a crazy amount right now. Sorry. The first book is a novella. This is The Extra by Annie Neugebauer. And it's about these 10 people who go on this camping trip, and randomly an 11th person is somehow there, but they all remember that 11th person being there the whole time. So excited to read this. This one my mom actually said she would like to read, and she hasn't read a book since I was in like middle school that I can remember. But this is Someone You Can Build a Nest In. We follow this shapeshifter who ends up injured and then is nursed back to health by this nice human woman. She kind of ends up falling, the shapeshifter kind of falls for her, but also it turns out that she might have murdered her family or something like that. I don't know. It sounds really fun. It's giving Dreadful by, is it Catherine Rosakis vibes? I really liked that book, and I think this is going to be kind of a funny, cozy little fantasy, hopefully. Last book. Oh my god, so many books. This is Hench by Natalie Zena Walshatz. This is basically a book version of The Boys, where we kind of see that superheroes are not as awesome as we think they are. But yeah, so that was all of my books that I got. Thank you so much to everyone who bought me books. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you had a very nice holiday season, and goodbye. Thanks for joining the circus.